Majesties, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for always returning. Trust you and yours are well, and you loving yourself and others like always. Just a quick one because I don't want this excitement to fade. Yes, it's a good news. It's a good news because of course, whenever you see me happy like this, you know it's a news from the Sahel, and it is good because at this point, everything that comes from the Sahel is all good. And like I keep telling you, this is the positive angle of the continent right now that keep giving you hope that a lot will change. Now, mind you, when we talk about the Sahel, things happening in the Sahel, and some of you say, oh, other African countries also have, like I saw from a comment, one of you wrote that, oh, Abigail, South Africa also produce ammunition and export it to other countries, sell to other countries. Apart from South Africa, you name some other African countries who produce some of these things. It's not like people like us are not aware of these things. Now, the question I have for people like you who think that we are overhyping the Sahel is that these nations in the motherland that have factories like this, especially that of the ammunition, because that was where the question, that comment came from. These countries that have these factories, are these factories controlled by the Africans in that country? Most of you don't care. Who is the one controlling those factories? Who is the ones controlling those? Who are those controlling those industries? Who are those controlling those companies or whatever you might talk about? This is what we have to think about most of the times when we talk about the Sahel like this, and some of you think that you get angry. I don't see why, as an African, you are not happy with what is happening down the Sahel. Like, what is wrong with us? Your Majesties, it is the gap between when these military leaders took over and when all these things are happening. This is what we are talking about. Mind you, the Sahel had been a dumping ground. There's been no hope for the Sahel until this military takeover happened. And all these things started playing up. This military takeover happened and the economy of the Sahel changed. They became the fastest growing economy in the world. Do your research about it. All these other countries in the continent, they took time to build these industries, and these industries are not even controlled by Africans solely. And then you say we shouldn't talk about the Sahel? I don't get it. Because these military leaders, these freedom fighters are doing these things on their own with the resources that the country have. They are not doing this, what they are doing with the intelligence of any Western body. They are not doing what they are doing with the intelligence of anybody from the West. I'm sorry, I just need to put out this because some of you feel like we are overhyping the Sahel. What it is that they have that other countries do not have. We talk about tomato factory. A lot of you said other countries in Africa have tomato factory. Do you think we are not aware that countries in the continent have tomato factories? Do you think we are not aware that countries in the motherland have different industries and factories that things are produced in the motherland? Do you think we don't know that? But the time frame between when these people took over and when they started establishing this thing is just like a miracle, because our democratic leader had showed us that these things cannot just happen within a twinkle of an eye. But these military leaders are telling us, they are proving these democratic leaders wrong. Enough of that ranting. I hope my message is sent out. Now the thing is that Ibrahim Traore would not stop surprising us, Your Majesties. Burkina Faso now produce their own electric cars. Yes, that's why I said some of you might have seen it from other platform. And like I said, the joy, I don't want to, allow the joy to be diluted. I just needed to tell you this upfront, that Burkina Faso now produce their electric cars. And hey, this is for real. It's not like it's something that they are planning to. This is a bomb. Traore just threw a bomb on us because we're not expecting this thing. We didn't even know that something like this was even going on. That is it. It just happened at the launch days and it's happening. Itaqua is the name of the company. They produce electric cars. Now, why do you think we are excited about Burkina Faso? Because there are other African countries who produce cars. Electric cars, they're also venturing into electric cars. Nigeria produce cars, they are venturing into electric cars. Ghana produce cars and they are venturing into electric cars. Other African countries, we are aware of these things. But there is a difference between that of the Sahel and other countries in the continent of Africa. Just calculate the time where this man took over. And the reason why we are always talking about Burkina Faso is because he is the youngest. The reason why we are loving Ibrahim so much is because he is the youngest. And again, the mainstream have, they somehow try to destroy his reputation by saying he's too young, he don't know what he's doing, he just been a captain, leading people is not going for war, statements like that. And this very man is the one that is shaking us the most. Your Majesties. So, I keep telling you that these Sahel leaders keep exposing our democratic leaders in Africa. Because the things our democratic leaders, I'm leaving you with a clip so you enjoy, but I just want to say, point out some of these important things that sometimes we are missing. This is exactly what we are talking about. So don't think that we're overhyping the Sahel. And even if we are overhyping the Sahel, it's that they deserve it. Okay? What we are doing is to challenge ourselves so that we can do better. All this our shouting and talking is for the motherland to be whole again, for the restoration of the continent of Africa, restoration of our dignity as Africans, wherever we are around the world, both in the diaspora and at home. We need to restore our dignity because we have been trampled upon. And that is exactly the aim and goal of the Sahel leaders. You heard from General Goita the other day. He said, we need this ammunition. And I tell you, there's going to be a difference between whatever it is that is established in the Sahel and whatever it is that have been existing in the other corners of the continent of Africa. There's going to be different because the hearts of those who are establishing these things are different, opposite hearts. On the other part, they have the people at heart. They want the restoration of the image of the African people. On the other side, they only have their pockets at heart and their family. That is the difference. So tell me, there would definitely be a difference. And I'm just going to leave you with this so that you enjoy and leave your thoughts and opinion there at the section. I hope I have not talked too much, Your Majesties. Thank you so much.
And finally, the slave empire, according to them, it's Africa and certain peoples of South America. In their minds, as I mentioned recently, Africa belongs to them, our lands belong to them. The riches of Africa are for them, and they can't conceive that Africans could liberate themselves. To come up for air and therefore want to stand up to them, and for that they put a stereotype in their heads. The African is easy to manipulate, he is just emotion. They will always find an African to fight against his brother. And it has always been like that.
Something huge and unexpected is happening in Burkina Faso, not just in the political landscape, but on the very roads of the country. Itaqua, the nation's pioneering domestic electric vehicle brand, has emerged as a potent symbol of national pride and a tangible stride toward a more sustainable and economically independent future. This initiative resonates deeply with the vision of Burkina Faso's leader, Captain Ibrahim Traore, whose leadership has consistently emphasized local innovation, self-reliance, and a decisive break from traditional patterns of dependency that have long characterized the relationship between Africa and the global north. During his many addresses to the Burkinabe, he has always launched an appeal to the sons and daughters of our country, has always invited all Burkinabe to have faith in our country, to have faith in our homeland, to invest primarily in our country, to contribute to the economic development of Burkina Faso and the social development of our populations, to the social well-being of the Burkinabe. Itaqwa's initial foray into the market with the native and the Sahel models, amongst several others, signifies a commitment to addressing both the specific needs of the local population and the pressing global concerns surrounding climate change. The Sahel in particular, with its impressive reported range of 330 kilometers on a single charge, and its suite of modern features including a touchscreen dashboard, GPS navigation, Bluetooth connectivity, and advanced safety systems like ABS braking and traction control demonstrates that Itaqua is not simply producing basic transportation. It is aiming to compete in the contemporary automotive arena, offering vehicles that are both functional and technologically advanced. Aside from building charging stations all over the country, these cars can also charge directly from the sun. This ambition is vital to shifting perceptions of African manufacturing capabilities and asserting a place on the global stage. The Itaqua Sahel, with a range of 331 kilometers, also has a digital dashboard and a touchscreen, a built-in GPS navigation system, a reversing camera and a parking sensor, a Bluetooth connection, and a USB port. In terms of safety, it also offers power steering, ABS braking and traction control, as well as front and side airbags. It should also be noted that in the coming days, we will receive other models, specifically regarding the Itaqua Zacon, with a range of 500 kilometers. However, the true significance of Itaqua lies in its commitment to local production. The establishment of an assembly and manufacturing plant in Ouagadougou is not just a symbolic gesture, it is a strategic move that addresses several key aspects of Traore's vision for Burkina Faso. First and foremost, it directly contributes to economic independence. By manufacturing vehicles domestically, Itaqua significantly reduces Burkina Faso's reliance on costly imports, injecting capital into the local economy and creating much-needed jobs. This fosters a sense of economic self-sufficiency, a cornerstone of Traore's policies, which seek to empower Burkinabe citizens and reduce the nation's vulnerability to external economic pressures. By choosing Itaqua, you are not only choosing a means of transportation, you are choosing a vision, a movement towards sustainable mobility. You become an integral part of a community that values innovation, quality, and respect for our environment. Every time you take the wheel of an Itaqua vehicle, you participate in a collective adventure, that of building a greener and more prosperous Burkina Faso. This local production also fosters the development of a skilled workforce, vital for long-term economic growth. It is also important to note that the establishment of a local assembly plant is a catalyst for technological advancement within Burkina Faso. The transfer of technical skills and the development of local expertise in a complex field, like automotive manufacturing, contribute to the country's overall technological capabilities. This is critical for breaking the cycle of dependency on foreign technology and know-how, allowing Burkina Faso to become a producer of technology rather than simply a consumer. Itaqua, therefore, becomes a training ground for a new generation of Burkinabe engineers and technicians, driving innovation and fostering a culture of technological advancement. Vehicles vary depending on their range. A vehicle with a range of 201 kilometers cannot be the same price as a vehicle with a range of 331 kilometers. Thus, the least expensive model currently offered in the showroom is the 201 kilometer one at 7.5 million CFA. An after-sales service will be set up on the routes where electric mobility will be developed. Amazingly, Itaqua just happens to be a tangible representation of what Burkina Faso can achieve, inspiring its citizens and projecting an image of progress and capability to the rest of the world. Captain Ibrahim Traore's leadership has been defined by a resolute focus on severing ties with traditional patterns of dependency and cultivating a spirit of self-reliance among the Burkinabe people. Itaqua perfectly embodies this vision. Traore's repeated calls for citizens to consume what they produce and invest in their own country find a direct echo in Itaqua's business model. By producing vehicles locally, encouraging local consumption, and reinvesting profits within Burkina Faso, Itaqua is putting this principle into action. Similarly, Traore's emphasis on technological sovereignty is reflected in Itaqua's focus on local manufacturing and the development of indigenous expertise.